We run with it, man. What's my mic? Properties. What's up? Yeah, this is my mic. I don't have my headset on yet because I don't want to. I gotta close my closet. I have to link the thing on the Twitter. I also have to pause this. I have to link on the Twitter platform website. Sorry, I have one view so far on the tweet. We're doing well. What's up? We're locked in. Let me pull this up. What's my phone at? 31%. That is definitely not enough to survive this. I'm keeping the fan on. I apologize for the background noise, but at the same time, like, it's hot outside. Hello. I would ask, how are you doing? But we just got off the phone. So I've got a good idea, I feel. I'm going to ramble on. I don't think I'm gonna wait for random people to show up because I have. Oh, what's up, Onus? I should just start. I got last time I did predictions in a stream. I got a comment that said the predictions actually start at 9 minutes and 35 seconds into the video. And I felt like, honestly, like half valid because I did kind of ramble on for a bit, but at the same time, it's like, dang, that's cold. You also just want to wait a little bit for people to show up. So I'll just go ahead and start because I'm going to talk. I normally talk a long time about all these matches, especially when I'm live, and I don't feel like I have to get it done within 13 seconds. So that being said, this is a pretty easy one. I'll go ahead and preview some teams. Incorrect, and we know who the G2 roster is by now. Incorrect is Flitz, Toasty, and Expert. This is their first main event. They took down some big names to get here. Actually, they took down big name to get here. They took down Snowmen, and then, thankfully for them, TSM upset Yapville. Don't ask why Yapville is a team, but that meant Incorrect only had to beat Yapville to make the main event. They did. They're here. These guys actually went 2-1 to start the Swiss before getting swept twice. And so I'll give them one game against G2 because I think this is actually a very solid squad, and they'll probably overperform. They'll overperform the rest of their season. I don't know if I'll have them starting out 2-1 again, but I also don't think I'm going to have them going 0-3. G2 and G Buffo. G Buffo, this is their second event, and I was excited about this G Buffo roster, especially after the offseason. They had a good run in the draw, where they kind of made a name for themselves. They've only made one event before this. They went 0-3 in that event, I believe. They might have won 1-3, beating Akron, but I can't remember. I think it was actually OG that beat Akron in that event, in the 0-2 round. This one I'll give a 3-0. OG versus 0-1. It is kind of ironic that we see 0-1 in this spot because I did mention how Incorrect went 2-1 in the one event that they started before getting bounced in round 5. But that was actually a roster of Angel, Tool, and Flitz. Incorrect only has Flitz, while 0-1 has Angel and Tool. So that was the roster that really went 2-1 to start. They also have S5 Cosmic. They do have a French coach, so that's kind of a buff. But OG, I'm liking this OG squad. I think they're really cleaning it up against the other competition. And I think they've quietly actually started to make a name for themselves being a solid top 4 team. I think they are better than what we saw at Copenhagen Major. I wouldn't be surprised to see them here again. I'll give them 3-1 because I do respect the run that the core of the 0-1 roster made. But still goes to OG. Space Station versus Spate. I can see this being a 3-1, but I'm going to predict 3-0. We faced the Young Whippersnappers roster before. We did well. I don't think they did badly, but it also wasn't close. I can't remember if it was a 3-1 or a sweep, but if they did get a game, it was kind of like a, wow, we really let them get a game as we kind of controlled the rest. No, I just don't want to deal with people complaining about um the inevitable, oh, if Space Station doesn't want to face G2 in this Swiss, they shouldn't lose their game differential. Because that argument is a bunch of crap, as we saw with Suh last weekend. I think it was Suh beat Suh upset Luna Galaxy last weekend, the number 6 team in Europe. And then as a reward, they got to face off against the number 1 team in the world, Gentlemates. Because as much as people want to say, oh, Space Station should have not gone to Game 5 with Akron if they didn't want to face G2, that argument is so stupid. I hate it. It makes me upset. So, yeah, you can call me SSG biased. Don't worry. There'll be plenty of time for that later. Luminosity, NRG. This is Luminosity went out in the Swiss last round. I forget who they lost to in that final. They lost to Cloud9 in that final match. That wasn't a great loss. But their other 2 losses were to OG and SSG. And I think without some sort of weird pause scenario, there's a good chance they beat OG. So I do think this Luminosity squad is stronger than 2-3X in the Swiss. I think they've gotten unlucky this split, but it's also they got kind of lucky in the last one. So M80 versus Moist. Listen, I know M80 and Swiss. I know there's memes. I know everyone's like, oh, they beat G2 and Gen G in the Swiss last time. I think there's a good chance. I'm pretty sure M80 lost in Double Elim, right? Let me double check that. I'm pretty sure they dropped to lowers against Dignitas. They got swept by Dignitas, by the way. And they dropped down. They faced Schmood again in the event. I was worried that Sunday night. If they had a tough opponent here, I think M80 misses the events. But M80 and Moist. Everyone's got memes about M80 and Swiss. I think this team is dead. What's up, Adam? I haven't shouted you out yet, so I'm going to shout you out while you're here. Thank you for all the good work. We appreciate it. I don't think I'm allowed to drink and run ads on the same stream on YouTube, but cheers. This is a non-alcoholic drink, and we will toast to all the good work that you have done. You've been clutch. This can say Cody's name next year. I don't know if it will or if it'll say yours, but if your name isn't on here next year, whatever Cody comes up with, or even if I have to go through and you can see the stuff here. I've messed around with this. Even if I have to retrofit some sort of sheet myself, you'll still get shoutouts. Cloud9 versus Dignitas. Is this the first time we've seen these orgs face each other since Season 6 World Championship? In the RLCS, it might be. But either way, I'm excited for this. Oh, gosh. I think this will be a close one, but Dig takes this. I think Cloud9 got a little bit lucky with their top 4 run last event. They went 3-2 through the Swiss. They did upset Luminosity, in fairness, to get there, but I think Dignitas looked stronger by the end of the tournament. But then again, I also thought Dignitas was going to lose to BDW in the thing. I think Cody is going to use the same or similar designs for future sheets. Yeah. This is a great design. Having the dark mode and then being able to fill it in as you go with the banners, it looks super cool. I also like the fact, I think if it isn't 10 p.m. by the time I finish North America, which at the rate I'm going, it might be, I'm looking at doing South America predictions, and I appreciate the fact that even some of the big South America teams have banners. I don't know if you saw the kickoff video I did, but was able to use that sheet for making some pretty graphics to pop up on the screen. So I keep clicking on the wrong tab. But Rebellion Snowmen, this was a sweep last event against Snowmen. I feel like Snowmen felt the pressure. I think Rebellion's made top 6 or top 8 every single time this split. They're trying to claim that they're the SSG of this split because they keep running into G2 and Gen G in the bracket. But come on, you can't claim that you're the SSG of the split while you're also dropping random series in Swiss, including Series 2 SSG. The reason why SSG got screwed is because they had one loss outside of the best teams, and that's why it was getting called SSG. All these people claiming, oh, we're the SSG of the split. It's like, no, you're dropping other series. The only legitimate argument, I think, is Crew in South America, because I think they've literally only lost to Furia. Everyone else trying to claim they got SSG'd is wild. But 3-2, I'll give it to the Snowmen this time. Genji versus Moist. This is a tough draw for Genji, or for Genji, for Moist. Moist, I think, they haven't been great in the last two events, but their qualifier run this time impressed me. Beating Luminosity is very solid. And I do credit Moist with beating Luminosity more than I fault Luminosity for losing to Moist. I like this squad. I think 5-Up, if he continues on the progression he's going, is going to be a staple. And now I can cheer for someone named 5-Up in both Rocket League and Minecraft Championships and Among Us, which is kind of cool. For the Minecraft viewers out there, 5-Up was announced on a Minecraft Championship team, which makes me actually excited to watch it this time. I'll go 3-0 because last time Adam was here, he yelled at me for not putting enough sweeps in. But I do almost want to give Moist that one pity game. It is not the same 5-Up, no. It's the same 5-Up with Among Us in Minecraft, but not the same 5-Up in Rocket League. Although they did tweet at each other a while back, and I was like, this is kind of wild to see. I'll type it in the chat. The 5-Up in Rocket League is spelled like that. So. Space Station Dignitas. This is a banger in the... yeah. This is a banger in the playoffs last time. I can't believe we let it get to 7, to be honest with you. I was having war flashbacks to winter of 2023 when Dignitas was tormenting me repeatedly, multiple times. I don't think it's going to be as clean. I think the last time we faced Dignitas in the Swiss, it went pretty well for Space Station. It was a 3-1. I'll predict the same thing. Even though it was with Evo instead of Stizzy, which I guess is technically the end deal of that trade. G2 versus Snowmen. I don't think we've seen this one. I think Snowmen made their run. They beat Genji in the first one. They lost to Genji in the second one. I'm curious about this one, but G2 has... I keep bragging about how Space Station has only dropped one series to a team outside of G2 and Genji this season. Technically, Space Station is one of the, potentially 3 teams that has not dropped a series to a non-LAN team. G2 dropped their first series to a non-LAN team last event to M80, and so it's very hard to predict them to do it again. I like this G2 squad a lot. I'll give Snowmen... I'll make it close because I like Snowmen. I don't know if this ruins their game differential, to be honest, but I don't think it will heading into the next round. I think going to 5 in this round, as long as your starting game differential is fine, which is not. We'll see. Let's stop trying to play the game differential game. This was inevitable. OG versus Luminosity. It's gone OG's ways the past 2 times. I want it to go Luminosity's way. I think it could. But I'll give OG the benefit of the doubt. I think they actually just are improving as a team. They're getting better, and I'm fully buying into the delusion that is my bias towards Nolly, that he will perform at this next major and do much better than 1-3 in the Swiss. Beating Genji isn't something they were doing last split, and it's something they've done this split twice. So I think that is a great sign for this OG squad. I think they'll be able to take down Luminosity. M80 G Buffo, this is a 3-0. I'm sorry, G Buffo, but even though I had M80 dropping at the start, it's Swiss M80. Cloud9 Spate, again, 3-0. A lot of these lower brackets, especially with the way that the qualifier system is this year, a lot of these are not ending up close because a lot of times it's not actually like the 15th and 16th ranked teams. It's like somewhere ranked 17 through 24. And then they're facing off against, technically like a top 6-ish team that just got upset. So Rebellion Incorrect. This one I can see Incorrect actually doing some damage. But Rebellion this split has been better. Don't ask me how, because I really thought they were not going to be better after they almost replaced Justin and didn't. But they might be on the right track. I'll give Incorrect the 2 games just because I think the squad is much better than going out in 17 through 22. Spade has the potential to upset. I can't see that, to be honest. I feel like young whippersnappers, when they went by that name, They went on a top, or not top, but like they went 2-3 through the Swiss the first time, and then they've kind of hung around. But I don't think they've really gotten too many quality results since going 2-3 when they pulled like an upset or two. That and this Cloud9 team is on form and looking to make land. Although I could see a world where Cloud9 is like the ghost of fall 2023 or the V1 of fall 2022. I could see a world where Cloud9 is like in major contention and it gets to their head and all of a sudden they're the team going 0-3 in Swiss. It's happened to some like I don't want to say bubble teams because they were almost on land, but it's happened to some teams before where they were so close and like actually in a great position heading into the last regional and then they've completely fallen apart. Yeah, Ghost in fall 2023 being one of them. Am I doing that right? Maybe it was Ghost. No, it was Ghost in fall 2021. Sorry, Ghost in fall 2023 had Hawkster, and they only qualified for like one or two of the events. Ghost in fall 2021, V1 in fall 2022. Essentially, every single roster that Cash has been on. Sorry, dude. Now NRG. NRG should be able to beat the 0-1 squad. I keep bringing up incorrect. When they went 2-1, that was the core of 0-1. But they met NRG and when they were 2-1 and NRG swept them. I think this will be a sweep as well. I'm being super boring with my predictions, to be honest. This is kind of a lot of what's expected, aside from maybe an upset here or there. But it's inevitable. Gen.G OG. This could be interesting. This is definitely a grudge match for Gen.G. In the spirit of not being boring, it's Gen.G and Swiss. They've been known to drop these series. I keep predicting Gen.G to go 3-0 through the Swiss. They haven't since... They've only done it once. I think I predicted them to go 3-0 every single time, unless there was a time that they ran into Gen.G. Or ran into G2, sorry. So I'll predict OG to go 3-0 through the Swiss. And that might seem ridiculous, but I have been known to hope for OG before. Also, this is not something I've ever said publicly before. But I was considering before the major, I'm like, what could disrupt the way that Carmine Corp plays? And I think a key part of that is like being able to eliminate all the good that Rise is able to do, like with low boost in front of the play. I think if Rise isn't able to do that and isn't able to be as much of a menace, that rotation can easily fall apart. And I thought one of the best players that could do that was Calm. With the way he demos, I feel like if Calm basically hunted Rise and reverted to that play style, there was a chance that OG could have taken down Carmine at the major. I almost made some sort of like short video about it, talking like this could happen, but I knew I was going to get clowned for it, and I knew it was like a completely long shot. And then, although Carmine was much more fallible at the major than we all expected, OG was not the OG I expected to show up at the major. So I'm glad I didn't make that in hindsight. That being said, I would have gotten a lot of French viewership. I'm sure of it. There's no question that the Space Station G2 series is going to be a 3-1, though. I'm glad we dodged them last event. We can't dodge them this time. Luminosity Rebellion. This one's an interesting one. This one, I'm predicting Rebellion 3-1. We all know Luminosity is going to win here to go to round 5. But Rebellion, this is a big series for them to prove that, hey, we're actually like a decent squad. Because if they are dropping series in Swiss to random teams, which honestly I can't remember off the top of my head who Rebellion has lost to this season. I know they went 3-2 last event, and there's no way they faced Gen G and G2, right? Right? You know what? Let's back this up because I keep talking about Rebellion. Rebellion lost to TSM and OG. Yeah, man, you can't claim you're the space station of this split if you're dropping series to TSM and OG. Anyways, but this would be a great series for Rebellion to prove, like, hey, maybe we are like, you know, you're kind of getting bracketed, but maybe we're better than we're being given credit for. Snowman versus NRG. This says a lot. I think the NRG squad is kind of getting bracketed. I don't think they're a top 8 team. I think they should be a 2-3 through Swiss team. I think they went 1-3 last event, but it was a close series against Dig. But I got some hopes for this Snowman squad. I do want to see a world where they are contending on Saturday or on Sunday to try to make this major. Honestly, Snowmen versus OG, ideal Saturday matchup. So, Dignitas M80, we saw this in the qualifier. This was a 3-0 in favor of Dignitas. I'm going to say it goes the complete opposite direction instead, mainly because this is the Swiss stage, and it's just entertaining. I want to see... you want to see Snowman in the 4th spot for the major? I would love to see Snowman as well. I think it will be OG. But either one of those teams, I think, is going to do better than how NA4 did at the last major. I think we're looking better. That being said, no offense to anyone on Cloud9, but if they make the major in the 4th spot, I don't have much hope. I think if Cloud9 makes major and then somehow Luminosity outperforms OG, Luminosity is going to Worlds. And I think that is a long shot. But I also wouldn't be opposed to Luminosity at Worlds because I do like Reddles a lot, and I do like Cheese a lot, and I know I left out Magic Bear there. He's very solid. I've enjoyed watching him play as well. And they might not be the highest potential squad, but they impressed me against Vitality. So I want to be opposed, but I would love to see Snowmen. And if OG actually play to the OG that I think they are, I'd like to see them too. Moist Cloud9. This is the falling apart of Cloud9 that I keep talking about, like with Ghost and V1. M80, yeah, we could get M80, but I don't think there's a world where... I think it had to be very chaotic for M80 to qualify without winning a quarterfinal, which they can't win a quarterfinal. Like, I'm sorry, it's the law. I cannot, like, I don't care. They could face Spate in their quarterfinal, and I am predicting Spate to go top 4. Incorrect, G-Buffo. 3-1. And then 0-1 to Spate. This one, I know I keep talking about 0-1. And they made a good run last time, but I want to give the Spate team credit for the amount of events that they've made. And so I'll give them the 3-2 victory. This would be kind of a entertaining match if you are paying attention to the fringe teams of the RLCS. Gen G versus Rebellion. This is another opportunity for Rebellion to make a statement. That being said, I don't see them doing it. I'll make a statement in the fact that they take 2 games, but 3-2. Space Station versus Moist. The last time we faced these guys in round 4, it actually went to 5. I was worried we were going to lose this series. We saw it in event 2. Space Station had the run where they got taken to 5 by Akron, taken to 5 by Luminosity, lost to G2, and then got taken to 5 by Pirates on a Boat. They were up 2-1 in the series. I was worried we were going to lose this series. 5-Up was in Chief Beef's chat, like chirping at him after game 4 or after game 3 when they were up. So that being said, I'll predict this one to be a little bit more one-sided. I'm giving 5-Up the game though. Also, not that I don't like the other 2 players on this roster. I've always been a fan of Andy since his Loco days, to be honest. Back when he made a run in Codename Covert with Dazzer, and I loved that squad. So Space Station Moist, I'll give it 1 game because I do like this Moist squad. Famos, what's up? Chief Beef has been solid. I've liked Chief Beef as well. I do understand the direction that it went, but I also kind of miss the commentary booth. Like, I miss the days when they had the entire Space Station Scuffed cast, like, trading out. And that might not be a popular opinion, but I loved everyone, like, taking turns commentating Space Station games. Like, sometimes we'd get Nito, we'd get Widow, Tri-House. Like, we got so many different people commentating Space Station games. It was so fun. And, like, I feel like they tried to half do that with Lethamir in the spring split of last year, but it became more of a watch party type thing. And then this year they just committed to, like, a GP watch party style thing. So, but I miss the Space Station entire team. They were fun. M80 versus Snowmen. Oh, Swiss M80, guys. Swiss M80. Swiss M80 or they're broken. I can't say they're broken after they sweep Dignitas. Listen, I started to play into the fact that they might be a broken team, especially after losing to Cloud9 after so much success in the Swiss last time. This G Buffo series will somewhat inspire some confidence, and then this series will be like, okay, Swiss M80's back. They're gonna do it. They'll beat Snowman here as well, 3-1. Don't give me Luminosity Snowman. Oh, please, don't give me Luminosity Snowman. I don't want to make that prediction. I don't want to. 3-0, sorry, Spate. Cloud9 incorrect. Ooh. This would be very Flitz of Flitz to take them down. So, I've been talking about the general, like, team that's on the fringes, kind of falling off in the last event. I like the Cloud9 squad. Honestly, it would not surprise me to see them do better than this, but I will go with that line of prediction where they are the V1 of this split, unfortunately. They're the ghost gaming of this split. This was inevitable. This is another rematch. This time, NRG takes it. Call me a Dignitas hater. But NA on top, Captain America. NRG takes back the throne. Although this prediction I'm very not confident in, considering that the last time NRG won, it was reverse sweeping with Evo. We've heard a lot of things about Evo behind the scenes. Whether they're true or not, we saw what happened once they had Gyro in instead of Evo. So I am a Dignitas hater. More like, I just like freedom, though. I'm a fan of freedom. I'm a Captain America, Garrett G believer. So, and it sets up for Rebellion versus NRG. So, oh, this is a dream round 5 for how I want these predictions to go. this is the best it could have lined up. Rebellion versus NRG, 3-0. Rebellion are through. Sorry, NRG, but freedom will get you to round 5 and no further. Snowman versus Incorrect. This is a Incorrect on a reverse sweep train. Snowman, this is the matchup you want to get through. I'll give Flitz the game. And then Moist versus Luminosity. I can see Moist taking this, but I have let my bias towards 5-up take me so far, and I said that Luminosity is better than a 2 and 3 team. I'll make it go 5. Luminosity are through. Dang it, it's G2 versus... Why? Oh, I didn't want that. That's not the team they were supposed to run into. If I... Do I? Do I say they sweep? Because that changes the entire complexion of this bracket, and I want it to so bad. What did I do? What did I do? No, I didn't even realize it. I didn't even realize it. What have I done? Oh, no. I'm match fixing this matchup because I can't go back and match fix against this. Oh, gosh, I'm getting war flashbacks. Of course, this would be late in the day, too. Genji actually beats OG. I don't think that if it's in the Swiss, I could really see OG taking it. I think that's my main argument. Because Genji, I keep predicting Genji to go 3-0 in the Swiss, and they always drop something. And considering that they are, in the last 3 times they've played, 1 and 2 against OG, I'll predict OG here. That's my main reasoning behind it. But yeah, you know what? For old time's sake, now that we're basically safe, we're gonna keep it. We're gonna keep it. And I am match fixing this because this is the matchup that I wanted, basically, since last event. So, playoff bracket. G2 Luminosity. I'm sorry, guys. This is a stomp. There's only so much trusting the process can get you, unfortunately. And that'll be the end of Luminosity's season. I believe, because they are already behind OG. So I apologize to the believers out there. I'm going to go in matchup order. This is the first match of the day. This is our second match of the day. I'd be locked in if this matchup happens. OG Snowmen, come on, dude. This is for every single marble in the book. Also, everyone's talking about how, maybe Cloud9 could squeak in this spot. Like, you got to outperform OG. Like, no one's talking about the fact that Snowmen are really only 2 points back. And if Snowmen win this series, they're in over OG. So, no one's really brought that up. So, I'm going to bring that up. Shopify or Snowman would have a huge chance to make the major. Where is Rebellion in this? Rebellion are 2 points behind Snowmen. Yeah. Oh, that's true because this is the law. Yeah, Rebellion would sneak into the major. No way. Wait. Am I gonna do this? What is this bracket? How does this happen? How do these three teams end up on the same side of the bracket? Why do I do this to myself? How delusional do I be? How delusional do I be? No, I can't do that. Here's the thing. As much as I want to do something like that, I cannot, in my right mind, pick Space Station to beat G2 or Gen G until we see it. That being said, this is the easiest matchup that we could get. If we're going to try to take down G2 or Gen G in this form, this is our best chance to do it. But I still can't predict it. I'll have it go 7 because we've taken G2 to 7 a couple times. Being Delulu is the Solulu. Listen, I'm still getting heat from Mythalion about predicting Space Station to win the 2022 World Championships. And there was legit, in hindsight, it may not look, but there is legitimate arguments to be made. I stand by that it was not impossible, and heading into the tournament, we had the chance to do it. I think Arsenal getting sick hurt us big time because if he doesn't go to the emergency room coughing up blood 2 hours after our series against Semper, and he actually feels good for that series, we probably win it before Game 7. That means we don't even face Dignitas. We don't get the 8 seed. We don't face Moist in the first round. This is my Roman Empire. Anyways. Or maybe I am being delusional because Chrome said that kickoff killed the team. So, and we all know what kickoff I'm referring to. 9 seconds left, war flashbacks. There's a reason I'm holding off on making this prediction because this is huge. This is genuinely, massive. Because if I predict OG, they're essentially through to the major. Actually, I'll talk about what happens. So if OG wins and then Rebellion wins, and then I'll go ahead. I'll delete these two for now. G2 versus Gen G. This is the time they're going to get it done. Call me delusional again. A lot of people say, oh, sweep. And fair, Gen G has had their number, but G2, I believe. I'm a firm believer in G2 now. Despite the fact that they went to Game 7 against Cloud9, and they went to Game 7 against Space Station, and they dropped a series to M80, I am fully on board with the true North America hype train. Apparently, Jack is no longer my favorite American. I am backing Beast Mode because he is on my Rocket League Reddit fantasy team, and he is going to be at the major. Actually, my Rocket League fantasy Reddit team has aged. It's aging like fine wine. It didn't look good at the start because I had Beast Mode, Ahmad, and Hoxer. And Ahmad stocks were not the greatest in the first split, to be honest. Hoxer couldn't get past Gen G. Beast Mode was still pretty good. But this split, Hoxer's finally proven that he's on a LAN team. Ahmad's getting revenge on his former squad by going to this major. Beast Mode's still, we're aging really well. So I'm curious to see how the rest of that season goes. But I'm not promising that this is how the predictions are going to work out, but just for a points example, OG and Rebellion are not tied on points. Oh, it's because I haven't predicted. So if OG wins here and Rebellion wins here, A, Rebellion to the finals seems wild. B, this would set up for a tiebreaker. This would set up for a tiebreaker. This would set up for a tiebreaker between OG and Rebellion, which would be insanely exciting. Especially considering we would have had this matchup. And I'm pretty sure, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure they did decide to move any potential tiebreakers to like Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't think they're doing it on Championship Sunday after the series, which if that's the case, thank goodness, because the entire 3 days leading up to the Space Station Complexity tiebreaker was so hype. I know how it ended, and I know I'm still sad about that. Yes, if Space Station makes London, they qualify for Worlds. I'm pretty sure that's statistically confirmed. There might be some weird scenario where that doesn't happen, but I think that would require Gen G to miss out on London as well, and I don't see that happening. So, yeah, the entire week leading up, or not the entire week, but the entire few days leading up to the tiebreaker between Space Station and Complexity, those were hype. Everyone was pumped. Everyone was talking about it. You had an hour-long pre-show by First Touch before the tiebreaker. And then you had the series, and it actually delivered. Went to Game 7, was super hyped. The underdog won. A lot of people were cheering for Complexity. Obviously, I wasn't, but like a lot of people were cheering for them, especially given their story. I'll admit, it was a great story. I cheered for them as a major. They were probably like my second favorite squad of the split. But the point is, those 3 days leading up to that tiebreaker, there was so much hype. Imagine the hype that we would have seen last season if we had so much leading up. Like, if we had 2 or 3 days leading up into Gen G versus FaZe, tiebreaker to make Boston. Imagine how much talk there would be those 2 days. That was the rivalry of the season. And all of a sudden, they're fighting to even make the major. If we had 3 days to talk about that, it would have been insane. Now, maybe it wasn't the best for viewership. I don't know. I'm not like in the numbers there. But in terms of who publicly talks about it, that was the ideal situation. Also, I will say, I do know that any Worlds points tiebreakers will happen on June 30th, which I think is a Sunday. And I will be driving. And well, I think Sydney would let me get away with it. I'm not sure her sister and potentially friend. I feel like they would give me some weird looks if I wanted to listen to a Rocket League series over the car radio as we're driving down. So, I don't think I can get away with that. But I would want to. If we had a Worlds tiebreaker scenario, especially if it was Ninjas in Pajamas. Anyways, okay, which one? I might be able to get away with it with one of the pairs. I don't know about the other, but that and the people. Okay, that's the pair I think I might be able to get away with it. Either I probably could just put one earphone in and listen to it, but anyways, back to like some actually predictions because I've not finished this. People are probably looking at this thinking it's finished. I just haven't filled these in. In reality, in the words of Peter Baelish, chaos is a ladder. And that ladder is going to Snowmen in Game 7. They will beat OG. As much as I've been hyping up OG, it's time for the Young Guns to take over North America. They will beat this team. This will be a match directly to qualify for LAN. Snowmen will run the gauntlet. They will make the finals. This is complete delusion. But I like the Snowmen. I want to see this happen so badly. I want to see this happen. Listen, I love OG. I love Nolly. If they make the major, I'm cheering for them. You know I am. But Snowmen making this major would be so hype. Points rankings. For Worlds, Snowmen wouldn't be far behind. Snowmen would be at 49 guaranteed. They would get to, if they go 2 and 3 through the Swiss, they would have 54, which would be 1 point behind OG. Space Station makes the LAN in this scenario, so they are jumping up in points above OG. There's no way that if Snowmen qualify like this for the major, that we get a tiebreaker. I also don't think there's a way where this side of the bracket plays out. Snowmen have to make the finals in order to make the major. I think there's the world where M80 and Rebellion are tied on points. Obviously, M80 isn't going to win in the quarterfinals. So I think, yeah, there is a world where basically whoever makes this final goes to the LAN, unless it's one of these two teams, and then it's a tiebreaker against OG if OG makes it here. If OG loses here, and then Snowman loses here, then the team that makes the finals automatically makes it. This is an insane bracket for trying to decide who that last major spot goes to. As much as I complained about how stacked this side of the bracket is, this side of the bracket would be nuts. Would be insane. So either way, yeah, I think that sums it up. Those will be the predictions for North America. This bracket could totally happen. Like, it's not like I completely went hog wild with the Swiss stages. Like, the Gen.G upset, it's happened before. We've seen a world where these two match up in the semifinals. That's how Luminosity made the finals. So, yeah, this bracket could very much happen. And if it does, these three matches would be some of the most hype of the entire North American season. So, and you already know one of them would look like Optic versus FaZe last year. And Johnny Boy is going to be watch partying it with like Rise and some other, and they're going to be making fun of North American gameplay. In all reality, it's not necessarily the North American gameplay, and it's more there is so much freaking pressure on these players that they are bound to make mistakes. That's North America. I kind of want to speedrun South America. It is 10 o'clock. I said I probably wouldn't do this if it was 10, but I could do this very quickly. A lot of these are going to be kind of sweeps, even though that generally doesn't happen. Wow, we're taking shots at Rise. Oh, Rise cannot talk. Optic versus FaZe was cinema. That was probably the best individual, not gameplay-wise, but that was probably the best individual series of last year in terms of stakes and hype. Probably the only one really comparable was I really liked Carmine versus Vitality in Boston. That one was a really hype matchup. The finals wasn't as hype. It felt like Vitality was inevitable at that point. But that Carmine versus Vitality series was nuts. The atmosphere was insane. Oxygen, if Oxygen actually snipes this world spot away from Carmine Core, we're going to have some serious discussions. Not that we're not going to have some serious discussions, but we're going to have some serious discussions. If a team that genuinely won half of the European events isn't at the World Championship, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy to the esport. I don't care how bad their second split was. They won half the events in Europe. They should be at the World Championship. Full stop. That being said, I said to speedrun this. Looking through, I'm just going to set these to show players. And then I'll try to look back. Team Mazes, they have Taizai, who tried out for Complexity. So I'll give that a 3-1. Plus, I think, I can't remember his Team Mazes, but the NA version of this, it's through Adam Core. He's got you can check out his Twitter. He's got it linked there. He also got a hubbed spreadsheet that I don't have up right now. But yeah, go to Adam Core's Twitter. It's right here. He makes all of them for North America and Europe, makes all the banners too. So pretty sweet, doing a lot of good work. To speed run through this, I forget who's on Timeless. I think Timeless has made some main events or some top 8s this split or season at least. B Mendoz, I recognize that name, but not enough to give them the edge over Complexity. That being said, I am kind of a Complexity hater right now because they are not doing well. I don't need to look at who's on Atypical. I am a fan of the Ninjas in Pajamas. Complete sellout moment. If you haven't seen my last video, it's the best one I've made since the Hawksler one. So, loved what I did with that. Loved that entire storyline. And if even 3 people that watch that video are converted into Ninjas in Pajamas fans for the rest of the season, it worked. They put on a masterclass that last event. I'm trying to look up Exile. Who's on Exile? Reppy, Vault, and Yan D. This is actually I don't want to say notable. They've been around for a while. I know all of those names. So I'll give them the one game. Crew in Barcelona. Barcelona's in solid, I believe. Delivery Jam, CRN. I don't know any of them, but that's probably like a good thing because that means they're at the dawn of their careers as opposed to the twilights. Hero Base and W7M. This is a high-powered matchup. I like this. Royales Pan probably because it's South American. Royales Pan and Kaio against Hero Base's Drop, Sat, and Klaus. I'll go 3-2. This will be your mainstream matchup for starting South America. It'll probably get missed because it's happening in North America. One thing that we're going to talk about during this offseason, we need Europe and South America to be on the same weekends again instead of North America and South America. Because I loved going from watching Europe to watching South America, and now I miss half of South America if North America is on the same day. Not Exposed versus Luke. Not Exposed has been having a good season. They are KNS, Leo, and Rudes. And then I'm blanking on who the other team is. Luke. Oh, Habercamper, Lucas D, Firefox D. I love both these teams too. I know a lot of these guys. I'll give it to Not Exposed 3-2. Although actually Luke, I think, made the top 8 last time as opposed to Not Exposed. I think Not Exposed might have made it too, but I'll give the edge to Luke. Then Gamer Legion Erased. I forget who's on Erased. PJ Luke and Davitrox. That's solid. Davitrox was on that Exceed roster last year that had a tiebreaker. Gamer Legion is not Pan anymore. Gamer Legion is Unbroken, Alpe, Davi. I'll give the upset. Gamer Legion's been kind of inconsistent from what I've seen. Complexity versus Luke. Oh, wait. This will be a 3-2. I have to ruin Complexity's game differential, and this team made top 8 last time. So, Ninjas in Erased. I like Erased, so I'll give them 1 game. Furia Hero Base, I'll have this go to 5. But Furia, I'll still have winning. Furia is one of the teams that I could see making it through this entire season, only losing to LAN teams. There's only 3 teams that still have the potential to do that. That being technically Team Mobula, but I don't count them because they didn't play the entire season. But the 3 teams are G2 if M80 makes the LAN, which G2 is probably going to get knocked off this list. Space Station has only taken losses to LAN teams, because their only other loss outside of G2 and Gen G was OG, who made the LAN. And then Furia, if Ninjas in Pajamas makes this LAN. So, forgot how much I liked the Worlds format last year with the wild card in 2 groups. I'm not saying we had a perfect format last year, but if you compare it to this year, it looks perfect. So, I remember a lot of people complaining about, some of the things of last year, where it was, not as many chances for bubble players, right? Because there were only 6 events to qualify for instead of 9, right? That was a big complaint. The fact that they didn't upgrade anything from the last season. Like, if I see anyone complaining that nothing was upgraded next season, I might lose it, because we saw it doesn't necessarily have to stay at the status quo. We should have been grateful for the status quo that we got, considering what we got this year. So, Secret versus Crew, high-profile matchup. I like this one. Wait. Okay. Everyone's been talking about Crew and their runs. Actually, I know they only lost to Furia in Qualifier 5. They lost in the semifinal. They went 3-0 through the Swiss. This first event, they lost to Crew, or they lost to Furia, and that's it. So Furia is in the same boat that Space Station was in last split. Genuinely. And it's not even like they're losing to the second best team either. Because there isn't really a clear-cut second best team in South America, but these guys are only losing to the number 1 seed. And so in that sense, I do have to predict Crew here. They will continue on that trend for now. I'll give it 3-1 though. Not Exposed, Timeless. I'm going to blank on who these players are, but I will kind of go based on what I generally know for South American results. I'll breeze through these because I don't know what I'm talking about, and unless someone in here is a South American like genius that knows exactly what's going on in this region. I hope they don't mind that I fly through this. I like that Mazes team, though. Exile. I'm blanking on who's on Exile. I feel like it's a decent team, right? Exile. Oh, it's the old guns against Barcelona. Barcelona's had a better split, so I'll give it 3-2. Not as many sweeps as I kind of brag about happening in this round that I did with North America. Ninjas and Furia. Crew's going to go 3-0. They will stomp Complexity here. Yeah, that might not be a popular opinion. Guys, if you want to see a one-sided series, watch Complexity versus Team Secret in round 4 of the last South American event. That was a statement from Team Secret. That 8-1 was brutal from them. I'm not kidding. That was one of the most one-sided series I've ever seen in my life. And it was a team that had gone to land last split. Like, it was brutal. Anyways, I'm going to give the edge to Furia here. It was a dream run from Ninja's last event, but I got to have Furia taking the status quo back. Secret Barcelona, 3-1. This is a solid matchup. This Hero Base versus Gamer Legion. I'll give it to Hero Base 3-1 as well. 3-2 because I will give the solid matches that Game 5 status because I don't know. I want to try to signify which matches could be close in South America in case people do want to tune in. If I predict it to be a 3-1, it's going to be like, oh, it's a 3-1. If I predict it to be a 3-2, maybe it's like, ooh, I could check that out. Luke could be decent, but that one will be a 3-1. I don't know much about either of these teams, to be honest. Erased and Not Exposed, but I think Erased is better. Exile and Timeless. I like the old guys. I'll do it. Mazis is going to sweep here. Sorry, Atypical. I feel like Atypical is better than I predicted them. Actually, I don't know any of these names. Sorry, guys. Atypical is typically a name. Typical. How many times am I going to say that? Atypical is a pretty common name for a team in South America. They've definitely been around, but I'm not sure if the players have stayed the same. Ninjas and Hero Base. They will smack them like they did in 2-0 matchup last time. Complexity Erased. This is a dream matchup if you're Complexity, to be honest. Secret versus W7M. This W7M roster, I think, had to completely rebuild. Right? Yeah, they lost all their points. That's why they have bad seeding. But they have, Pan and Kaio. It's a solid squad. I'll give it 3-2 to Secret, though. All these teams coming out here. These teams matching up against each other in the quarterfinals is going to be nuts, by the way. If this really happens. I just got 10,000 steps from shaking my wrist. Like, trying to explain to you guys that this is going to be exciting. Gamer Legion sweep. Mazis over Not Exposed and Not Exposed. This is a good matchup in the lower bracket, by the way. This is a crucial matchup. These teams are pretty commonly top 8. This spreadsheet, I will find it. So if we go to Adam Core's Twitter, the NA one, I'll bring up both of them. So this link right here, one of the best links in esports, hands down. Fun fact, I kept checking Adam Core's Twitter to the point where I noticed when this link changed when he updated it from the 2023 spreadsheet to the 2024 spreadsheet. I noticed that the link was different. But this is your hub sheet. This has literally everything you could ask for. It has North America, South America, and then you just basically make copies of this. I'll drop this link in the chat right now, just so that you can get to whichever one you want. But yeah, that's one of the most valuable spreadsheets of all time. Luke Barcelona, I'll give it 3-1. Round 5, this is a good matchup, but I will give it to W7M. They'll get back. Luke will make the run. I feel like that could be close, but I also might overrate Erased. Sorry, Taizai. And going down to the bracket. Okay. Dream scenario for Crew right here. Genuine dream scenario for Crew. And there's a lot of things that could happen. I'm going to go to my profile and brag about my tweets. Where did I talk about it? I talked about, okay. So, possible scenarios for South America. If Furia wins, Crew gets second, NIP and Cole get 3-4, we have a Ninjas in Pajamas and Crew major tiebreaker. By the way that this bracket is set up, genuinely possible, right? Because we could have quarterfinals, win. This would be tiebreaker between these two teams, right? Not only that, Ninjas in Pajamas would be 7 points behind Complexity. Now, what's important about being 7 points behind a team? Well, let's see how many points you get for going 1-3 at the major. This is 8. I'm going to cry. It's not. It's 7. So, genuinely possible, if this bracket works out this way, that, okay, please get to the right page. Furia beats Crew in the finals. Ninjas and Complexity tie here, right? We could see a tiebreaker between Crew and Ninjas. Ninjas win that, go to the major, go 1-3. Tiebreaker between Complexity and Ninjas for Worlds. I'm going to be honest, that is my dream South American chaos entertainment scenario. That is exactly what I want to happen. And by the way, I want Ninjas to win that tiebreaker too. That would be a very, very easy sequel to make a video. The Ninjas follow-up story, if that was their route to the World Championship, would be insane. So that is a genuine possibility here. Now, other possibilities for what could happen is, I tweeted this, I want to make sure I get this right. Secret beat Ninjas in Pajamas in the finals. Furia loses in the semis. Complexity loses in the quarters. So, what happens if this is the scenario? Secret win here. Secret win here. Ninjas win here. Secret win here. So, if this were to happen, we wouldn't have a tiebreaker for this event. It'd be Furia and Secret are through. Ninjas would be at 44, Crew would be at 36. I think there's a world where maybe if Crew wins this instead, we get a tiebreaker between Ninjas and Crew. So this could be another scenario where we see a tiebreaker. And it's genuinely possible. Like, I know I'm predicting Furia to go out in semis, but like this is the team they lost to in the last tournament. Crew has only lost to Furia. The top of South America is very close. And you know who's actually not really actually that close to the top of South America? Complexity. You'd be surprised. So this could happen. If Crew wins this tiebreaker, Crew goes to the major. Crew is also loads behind this Ninja roster. But if Complexity goes out in this quarterfinal and Ninjas make the finals, that's an 8-point gap. That means Ninjas jump Complexity. Now, the way I had it with Secret making it didn't have a tiebreaker, so I'll go ahead and load that one up. If Secret goes to this major, goes out 1-3, that matchup in the 1-3 round would be insane because it would basically be their qualification match for Worlds. They would have 7 points from this, which would put them at 73 points. If they go 2-3, they're through to Worlds. If they don't, Ninjas in Pajamas. Secret goes 1-3 at the major. Ninjas in Pajamas, without going to a single major, would qualify for the World Championship. South America. The possibility this is the exact reason why I made this predictions. Like, it wasn't the Swiss. Like, obviously we got to get to the Swiss, but the way this bracket works out, and I might talk about it, like, if I do get a chance, I'll probably throw at least a tweet about what's possible and like the brackets that would have to shape up in order for a scenario like this to happen. But it's genuinely possible we see Ninjas in Pajamas go to the World Championship without going to a single major. It's genuinely possible we get 2 tiebreakers involving Ninjas in Pajamas. There's so many possible tiebreaker scenarios with, you know, maybe Crew wins this instead. Ninjas winning the last event really opened up the entirety of South America because if Complexity wins that series, I think it's over. I think it's genuinely done because they have a 23-point gap over Ninjas in Pajamas. Maybe Team Secret starts to catch up. Maybe they don't. We would have seen another rematch between Complexity and Ninjas in Pajamas, or Complexity and Team Secret in the semifinals, and maybe Team Secret takes that as well. But Complexity looked rough last event. They did not look great, and I know they were up in a should-be guaranteed winnable position against Ninjas in Pajamas, but the fact that Ninjas brought that back kept everything still so up in the air for this region, kept Ninja's season alive. Genuinely, they lose that, they're done. I don't think there's a single way back. Maybe if Complexity completely bombs and Ninja somehow sneaks into the major, but I don't think you sneak into the major with 2 quarterfinal exits because you would have, like, this 24 points and have to a mountain to climb in the last event. Yeah, there's a reason, like, I've loved South American Rocket League, honestly, for years. I think I always saw the potential they had back in Season 7, and everyone's going to say that, right? Like, everyone's going to say, oh, they always had the potential. Like, they had insane mechanics in Season 7. Go watch Tander's backflip fake against Cloud9. That was nuts. Everyone's been talking about Streets won't forget players. Like, oh, the Streets aren't going to forget. They're listing world champions. I'm listing Tander. Man, the Streets aren't going to forget Tander. So But I've always loved South America. I knew they had the potential. I was excited to see when they finally did it. I thought they were gonna like actually do it when G2 upset, or no, when Furia upset G2 at the fall major, the first one back. That was a very bad tournament by G2, by the way. They went 0-2 to start that tournament. Like everyone remembers the sweep that Sandrock got over them, but Furia beat them in the very next round. And everyone remembers, everyone remembers Sandrock. No one remembers the fact that Furia won that too, because Furia went out 1-3 afterwards. But I always thought they had the chance, and then they finally started to do it. They did that series against Moist. Still probably the best series I've ever watched live. I was so glued to the television there. But yeah, they had a very down season last year when their best talent moved away. I was still impressed with Team Seeker making top 4 in Rotterdam. That's probably one of the least talked about runs in RLCS history. They deserve better and to be talked about more for that. But yeah, South America, like the minute North America finishes this weekend, or the minute you know what the North American LAN teams are, it might be time to turn to Rocket Sam or Rocket Street Live is, I believe, the channel. But South America. I'm genuinely more excited to see the playoffs of South America than I am to see of North America, because I think once we know what the playoffs look like for North America, we're going to know the LAN teams. I think we already know 3 of them, and it's just kind of a formality while we wait to see if Gen G and Space Station make it out of Swiss tomorrow. But it's hard to like see them not, considering they have every single time. So, series was like, can Sam win Worlds? There's been some talk recently about everyone liked how the Copenhagen major, it felt like there were 8 teams that could win it all, right? When it got down to the final 2 days in the playoff bracket, it felt like there were 8 teams that had the potential to win it all. And I think the fact that Gentlemates won it, a team that was EU4 that was being made fun of for a floater from heaven, like the fact that they won it kind of backs up the fact that anyone could have won it on the day. I truly believe that Fort Worth, that world championship in 2022, was much more like that than people give it credit for. And I think a large part of why people don't view it that way anymore is because Team BDS was the team that took it all, right? And the finals weren't close, sure. But there were just as many teams that could have won in Fort Worth. And here are the arguments, right? Obviously, Team BDS won it, but they were coming off of an 0-6 spring major. G2 was the North American super team. They made finals. They obviously had a great run. They were looking in great form. Moist, duh. Space Station was a few Game 7s away. Like, literally, they had 3 Game 7 losses at this point, where if you flip any of those results, it's a completely different story for the season. And they should have won against Moist, which would have changed the entirety of the London storyline. V1 was coming off a top 3 in London, and they took Falcons to Game 7 in that upper bracket. So if they win that Game 7 instead, again, very different story. So V1 was a true contender. Carmine Core was on the rise. They were probably the least viewed, but probably had the most potential in hindsight. Who else? Furia had just won Gamers 8, so there was a lot of hype for them still. FaZe was obviously like 4th clan, but there was always like, when are they actually going to outperform 4th clan? Because they should be better than that. Falcons were, from the upper bracket at the spring major. You got to give them credit for that. Like literally 9 different teams, all with the potential to take it home. Like obviously not all of them made top 8. NRG snuck into that top 8. We can say that. But there were 9 different teams that I think had genuine arguments that you could make to be the world champion that year. And hindsight, a lot of people are like, oh, it could have only been BDS, G2, or Moist. And I think a large part of that is because the super team of BDS won it. But in reality, there were so many more teams with that actually had viable paths. And they're not given enough credit. I think Furia pulling off that upset against Moist says a lot. Along with that, like, everyone was asking, can South America win Worlds after that? I know it was a 4-2 series for BDS over Furia, but it's like, oh, they're actually taking games against BDS too, so it felt more real then as well. But, like, G2 had beaten, if you need a stronger argument for G2 other than they lost in the finals again, it's like they had beaten that Furia earlier in the tournament. So, yeah, that's kind of my take on the Fort Worth situation. If I just completely disagree with anyone saying that there were only like 3 teams that could have actually won it on the day, because I don't think anyone's going to say that with Copenhagen, because one of the teams that people were rating 7th or 8th heading into it actually won it. But it's so much easier in hindsight to say, yeah, oh, they had no chance of winning. They had no chance of winning, when that actually was never the case that people were saying in the moment. Like, no one was laughing when Reynolds was doing his, spiel for media day at the World Championship that year saying, we think we can win this all. Like, no one was laughing. Everyone was like, yeah, he's got a point. So that's it for me. It's 3:30 a.m. My goodness, it's late. I'm guessing that's UK time, if I'm not mistaken. But I unfortunately am not on gamer hours, so I will not be up until 3:30 a.m. my time. It is 10:30 for me, and I have work in the morning. So I will be calling it quits right around now. I appreciate everyone for coming out. I'm surprised that at least 7 people have still stayed through me doing South American predictions, which is kind of nuts. So I'll obviously keep this VOD available. And hopefully tomorrow will be a great day of Rocket League. So Portuguese, yeah, that makes sense. But thank you all for watching. I'm going to run ads one last time, but there will also be no me when I come back from ads. So thanks for coming out.